things that we want to do to make the change is step your client through the meta pattern of change. The meta pattern of change is very simple. You want to associate into the problem. So you want to discover what the problem is, associate into the problem so that you'll know what you're getting rid of. Then dissociate from the problem, because it's very hard to come up with a solution when you're in the problem state. So dissociate from the problem, associate into a resource, associate into a solution. So when you're dissociated from the problem, you can associate into the solution. Then you take that solution and you paste it onto the problem and watch the change. Apply the solution where it's necessary. So first you get the problem, you associate the problem. Many hypnotists do this with their intake form. They'll have people write out a bunch of stuff about the problem. That's associating them into the problem. We can do it conversationally as we ask our client, so what's the issue? What do you want to change today? What's going on? And that's associating into the problem, because now they're in the trance state. And maybe I should tell you my view of trance. This is my view of trance. This is not the rule about trance. This is my view of the world, and I'm sharing it with you. You can adopt it or not. My view of the world is we're always in trance. We go from trance to trance to trance to trance all the time. Right now, you guys are in the learning trance. You're here in the trance learning from me. I am in the teaching trance. They're trance states. We go in and out of them all the time. If you go to lunch with your girlfriends, you're in the girlfriend lunch trance. And if you go to lunch with your boyfriends, you're in the boyfriend lunch trance. And Rick's girlfriend and boyfriend lunch trance is going to be different from Astrid's. You understand what I mean? So we go in and out of those trance states all the time. If you walk into a church, you go into that trance state. If you walk into a football game, you go into that trance state. If you get behind the wheel of a car and you're driving, you go into that trance state. Astrid, I'll bet on the subway, you go into the subway trance state, because you're there, you got no place else to be. You read the book or you read your iPad or whatever it is, you're in that trance state. So we go in and out of trance states all the time. And we do it quickly. We can move from trance state to trance state very easily. We do it all the time, all day long. So we're always in a trance. When your client walks in, they're in the problem trance state. So you ask them a little bit about it, they're in that trance state, and as soon as you get enough information about that, what the change needs to be, stop that trance state. Move it to a different thing. An easy way to dissociate from that trance state is to ask something else. Ask anything else. So let me ask Janet. I'm thinking your microphone works just fine. Unmute yourself for a moment. And tell me, if you wouldn't mind, the first car you owned.
Oh gosh, the first car I owned, I think, was a really big beat up white sedan of some sort. I can't even remember the make.
But it was a big.
I drove it back and forth to nursing school down on the med center. And
now that she's in that trance state of remembering the first car, she's not in that old trance state that we were in before. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you ask. Who was your favorite person in second grade? What was your favorite holiday? Anything else. You can ask any other kind of question and immediately stop that problem trance state, because now they've moved to the other trance state. So you broke up the negative trance state or the problem trance state. You pulled them out of that. Now we're going to go look for a solution or go look for a resource. So let's pretend that somebody comes in and says they want confidence. I need confidence. I just got a new job, and I had a client who came and she just had a new job, and she was supposed to make some speeches in her position, and it just scared her. She really wasn't afraid of speaking, but this whole idea, this pressure of it, she just wasn't sure she was going to be able to compete in that arena. And I said, wow. We asked her about something else. And I said, now in your life, has there ever been anything that you were really confident or really good at that you really enjoyed? And she said, oh yeah. When I was a teenager, I was an equestrian, and I jump horses. She jumped barrels or hurdles or whatever it was. And so I asked her about that. So how was that? Oh, my horse and I, we rehearsed and rehearsed. We were so connected. I could feel my horse and the horse could feel me, and we knew exactly what we were doing. And how did you know exactly what you were doing? Well, because we practiced a lot and you went through the routines over and over, and we had it in muscle memory. So it just happened. There's the solution. Now let's paste that. Let's practice a lot. Let's rehearse it a lot. Let's get it into muscle memory and paste that on to giving a speech and see how well that works. So let's imagine for a moment that you're going to make that first speech for the office, and you've practiced it, and you've really rehearsed it, and you've got it in muscle memory, and you know all about it. And so when you got there with your horse, how did you feel? Oh, when we took the arena, we were confident. We felt we could do it. So now that you've practiced and rehearsed, in other words, what we pulled out of that was some of her strategies for success. In looking at something else that she does, and how did you create that success? We rehearsed, we practiced, we got it into muscle memory. I couldn't have said those things to her. Well, just put your speech in muscle memory and be done with it. How would I know? So I had to find out what her solutions or how she creates success. We looked at something else entirely, how she created that success. And then I was curious, if you really practiced what you were going to talk about, if you really said those things and you really knew that it was in muscle memory, how would your speech go? Oh, well, I wouldn't even have to think about the speech. I could just think about building rapport with the audience and doing other things. So in just being curious, we found a solution and we're able to paste it onto the problem. So the meta pattern, the 4 steps of the meta pattern of change, is to associate into the problem, dissociate away from the problem, associate into a solution state, and then take that solution and paste it onto the problem and then try it out. Then future pace it and find out if it's going to work. Another theory of mine is I do all hypnosis. I don't know if I do all hypnosis this way, but I would say 95% of the hypnosis that I do is a lot like cooking spaghetti. I use this analogy quite a bit. When you cook a pot of spaghetti, anybody know the real Italian approach to cooking spaghetti? You get the water boiling and you put your spaghetti in there and you let it boil around for a while. And whatever it takes, 8 minutes, 13 minutes, whatever the package says, about that time, you pull out a strand of spaghetti and you throw it against the wall. If the spaghetti sticks, it's done. If the spaghetti slides down the wall, it just needs a little more cooking time. You cook it another couple of minutes. But you don't get mad at the pot of spaghetti and throw it out. You get information. It's just feedback. You pick up that strand of spaghetti, you throw it at the wall. Oh, it's sliding down. I just have to cook another minute or two. Pick up another strand, throw it against the wall. That one's stuck. We're done. The spaghetti's cooked. I don't have to do any more. Well, that's kind of the theory I use with my clients. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. They don't know what I'm up to. They don't know what I'm doing. So they don't know if I've tried 3 or 4 or 15 techniques on them. I'm going to try something until I find what sticks. And then we're done.